So good morning, everybody. Let's just give 1 more minute for people to check in. You know, some people are using GMT for this thing. They thought it was 10 GMT. So that's 9 a.m. So, I mean, that's 11. So let's just wait. Just give them 1 minute's grace. I want our numbers to hit like at least 30 or 40. Let's just say 35 and then we'll start. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2021 BOG Elections Virtual Campaign. This is day 2. We had day 1 yesterday, and as you're checking in, we're starting 10 a.m. Well, it's a bit late, 6 minutes late, but we will finish at 11:35. So we'll try and make sure we do that. So 10 a.m., 11:35, you can go on to your parties or whatever events that you wanted to attend, socially distanced, of course. So you're welcome. And I'll just give a quick brief of what we're going to do today. And I'll give a small overview of yesterday, and then we'll start the session. So let me quickly give a brief. But before I give the brief, I would like to welcome our society president. He's going to give us a small welcome address for 5 minutes, and then I'll read out all the agenda for the day after that. So I'd like to welcome Banji to give us a small welcome address. 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, David, and good morning to everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for showing up for this important event, especially people who attended yesterday, because I thoroughly enjoyed the session yesterday, brilliantly moderated by David, and the kind of questions that came, actually were excellent as well, and the responses from the candidates. I think, like I said yesterday, we're at a point of history in our society, and I think we should all be part of history. And this is the first time we're having all these things happen in the history of our society, having elections, this well-organized participation and all that. And I think we should let that count for something. I was just reflecting on it overnight, and with the quality of the debate and the people I saw yesterday, and obviously the quality of the people today, I was just saying to myself that, irrespective of the outcome of the elections, we are all winners. This is a great family. It's a great association of people, all the people that we have, whatever combination, permutation of people, we will still end up having a very good board to lead our society to the next, well, David said we shouldn't say next level, but to a higher level, hopefully. So I would really like to thank all the members. Once again, please do come out to vote. To me, that's the most important part. There's no need doing all this and then on election day, people don't turn up to vote. We would really like to have a voter participation that is close enough to 100%. I know I'm being ambitious, I'm always ambitious, but it would be very good for us to have voter participation close to 100%. To all the candidates, I again wish you the best. You have the support of the Society Office as you run through the last week of your campaign. Like I mentioned yesterday, you have access to the voters directly through a dedicated group email that's been created. If you haven't requested for it or if you haven't received it, please ask the Society Office to give it to you so that the last stretch, you can actually reach out to the people that are going to vote directly. So I look forward to being a part of this today. I'm going to be on the background from now, listening to the conversations, and I wish everyone the best. So David, I'll just hand it back to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Banji. Thanks a lot. And so I'll just quickly go through the agenda for today. And but I'll start off with recapping yesterday. So for those that weren't here yesterday, let me just share my video. So anyway, I'm David Brown, managing partner D Brown Consulting, and also international consultant of the World Bank, and of course a member of our institute. So yesterday we had a welcome address first, and then we had the 3 positions were for treasurer, general secretary, and assistant general secretary. For treasurer, we heard from Folake Bankole. She gave ideas of what she intends to do for when she does start as the treasurer. She was unopposed. And general secretary, we had Musa Ibrahim. and he gave his speech and also continued the debate, because we had a nice, interesting Q&A for Folake and both Musa. We talked about the regulator, how we can kind of be more assertive, I think, in having a good relationship with the regulators, and also interesting ideas around other topics. And we also had the Assistant General Secretary position. We had Kike and we had Wale, and both of them talked very eloquently about what they intend to do as Assistant General Secretary. So that session ended, I think we ended just before 6 o'clock, so we were on time yesterday. And so for today, we're going to do the similar format, and I'll just give you the quick agenda for today. We've just had our society president's welcome address, and then we're going to have, I've just given the recap for day one, and we're going to have the candidate speeches. And the candidates first, we're going to start with the vice presidential position, and the speeches will be 5 minutes each. I'll give you the rules in general, but I'll just quickly run through the agenda. We have Chuka Madubum, and we have Odiri Ogini, we have Olumuywa, Adebayo for the positions of vice president. They will have Q&A after that, and then we go straight into the candidates for president. We have Ibukun Oyedeji and we have Oladele, and we'll go through their own speeches to 10 minutes each, and then we'll do Q&A. And then we close. So during the Q&A phase, candidates, as in members, basically should type in the chat, type their questions in the chat, very nice and short, so that we can get in as many as possible. So I'll just give you the general ground rules now. So the ground rules, I will be moderating, so I'll give a brief description of each role before the candidates give their speeches. For the VP position, each candidate will have 5 minutes to give their speech, and a maximum of 10 minutes per candidate for Q&A. Since we have 3 candidates, that's going to be a maximum of 30 minutes for the entire Q&A. Of course, if it ends before that, that's fine. We'll close the Q&A session, but it shouldn't exceed 30 minutes for all 3. For the position of president, each candidate will have 10 minutes, not 5, 10 minutes to give their speech, and a maximum of 10 minutes per candidate for Q&A. So since we have 2 candidates, we're going to have 20 minutes maximum. So as the moderator, I may adjust any questions or even annul a question if asked, depending on the propriety's sake, I guess. So also I may even ask a follow-up question, me being a member as well, right? So we're going to start off with the position of vice president. So I'll give a general talk on what the role entails, and then I'll quickly, just very briefly introduce the candidates, and then we jump into the candidate speeches, which will last 5 minutes. So for the vice president shall perform duties of the president in his or her absence, automatically becoming the president of the society in the event of the president's incapacity, resignation, removal, or death, until such a time as the board may convene to appoint a new president, and have such duties or other duties and powers as prescribed by the Constitution, the Articles of Incorporation, by the Board of Governors, and by laws. So I would like to introduce the 3 candidates, or the 3 candidates for the position. We have Chuka Maduabom, is a private equity professional at Uhuru Investment Partners, overseeing investment opportunities in West Africa and creating value for companies. He currently sits on the board of some institutions and has managed businesses in the capacity of CEO, COO, and CFO. Chuka comes with 7 years of volunteer experience with the society, where he has served as a member and chair of the programming committee, and subsequently a member of the board of governors as the general secretary. That's Chuka. I'll now introduce our next candidate, Odiri Ogini. Odiri is the CEO of United Capital Asset Management Limited, UCAM, where she leads a team of investment professionals dedicated to the delivering superior performance across a range of asset classes. UCAM manages over 250 billion naira in total assets for both institutions and individual investors. The firm is a top 3 manager of mutual funds across equities, fixed income, and multi-asset strategies and solutions in Nigeria. Over the last 4 years, Odiri has served as vice chair of the Employers Relations Committee, engaging actively with employers to showcase the value of the CFA designation and increasing opportunities for members to access job opportunities and internships. So that's a brief overview of Odiri's profile. I will now go to the third candidate, Adebayo Olumuywa. Adebayo holds a bachelor's degree in actuarial science from the University of Lagos, UNILAG, also holds the Higher National Diploma in Business Administration and Management from Yaba College of Technology, and obtained his postgraduate master's in business administration with the University of Cumbria in the United Kingdom, and postgraduate diploma in transfer pricing with Middlesex University, London, United Kingdom. Olumuywa currently volunteers in the advocacy committee. Speaking on his plans, if elected, he says, I will commit to the objective of the society and CFA Institute at large and take up additional responsibilities to support the president elected and the BOG. I will bring to bear new ideas, energy, and innovative disruptive activities that will boost the trajectory of the society in a tandem with strategic objectives of CFA Institute. I'm sure the candidates will have a lot more to say about what their plans are. So I'm going to start off with Chuka, and Chuka has 5 minutes to just give us the general overview of what his plans are for the Institute and that position. Chuka?
Yes, sure, David. Thanks for the introduction. Well put. Yeah, so I would like to start by talking about, the reason I decided to volunteer. And I volunteered in 2014, and really this was due to my desire to see the CFA designation as more than just a certificate. And since then, I have been able to drive a couple of initiatives. One of them I would really like to highlight is the investment conference. In 2015, Ibuku, who is currently contesting as president, and myself, we discussed the future and strategic direction of our society. And basically what we're looking to do is this. We wanted to get the attention of the CFA Institute by making a bold statement. And that bold statement was actually setting up the investment conference. Now, many people didn't believe that it could be done. They thought we were not ready, and we understood. Basically, at that time, we had a secretariat, a one-man secretariat, and the person was an intern. But due to our tenacity, we were able to convince Shade, then the president, to buy into the idea. And we successfully executed the conference. And from then, we got the attention of the CFA Institute. And this eventually led to the establishment of 2 exam centers in Nigeria. And riding on that momentum, we have been able to launch other bold initiatives. And this in turn led to the CFA Society Nigeria being voted as the best society in the world in 2018 and 2019. Another initiative that I would really like to talk about, and I strongly advocated, was women in investment management. I mean, at PwC, where I previously worked, I saw how the Mentors Mom program actually increased the number of female partners at PwC from 1 in 2014, and currently there are about 5 female partners at PwC. And this was because it created awareness on the challenges that women face in balancing professional life as well as family life. The other program that I actively advocated was the career fair. And the whole idea was to create value for members. It's important that members get to benefit by promotion and career growth. And the whole idea of the career fair was, first of all, to get members close to potential employers and also equip them with the soft skills needed to add value to their employers. So that's beyond what I've done or some of the things I've achieved. In terms of the plan going forward, it will be driven through impact and member value. With respect to impact, this would be in the area of investor education. So the finance and investment industry is fast evolving. We're hearing of new things like cryptocurrencies, blockchain, fintech. It's very important that the public is enlightened on this new phenomenon. They need to understand the risk profile of these various investment outlets, and I'll be leveraging with journalists and media houses to do this. The other area is in publication of thought leadership materials. I've seen how the consulting firms have leveraged this to build brand equity. On member value, career advancement will be taken to the next step. And this will be in form of internship, mentorship program, and leadership academy for C-suite executives. Creation of networking events is also very critical for our members who are very early in their career. They need to mix and mingle with the executives in the investment industry. Deepening the involvement of the Abuja community, it's also another focal point for me. With your support and votes, we will take our society to greater heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuka. Thank you very much. And thanks for being to time. Thank you very much. And so we would hear from the next candidate. So the next candidate we're hearing from is Odiri Ogini. Odiri, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good.
Thank you,
Hi, Odiri.
Hi. Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, my fellow members of the CFA Society Nigeria. You would all agree with me that the current administration has done a fantastic job in creating visibility for the society, both locally and internationally. This means that the next phase of the growth of the society requires deliberate focus on driving key strategies that can clearly impact members' career and professional development. When I started writing the CFA exams, I got asked several times why I was writing the exam, since I was just at that time a back office staff. I was the CFO of a boutique investment bank. After I became a CFA charter holder, I volunteered in the Employers Relations Committee, engaging with the employers and actively promoting the value of the charter, designation, and brand. I can boldly say that the CFA designation has given me the platform to elevate my investment career. Today, I currently run one of the largest asset management firms in Nigeria, leading a team of investment professionals that manage over 250 billion naira in assets under management across various asset classes. I got this opportunity because someone in a meeting at the board level in my company said, Odiri has a CFA, let her go and do the job. This is in addition to delivering professional excellence in my prior roles. I had this opportunity if I was not a CFA charter holder. This is one of the reasons why I firmly believe for members, career advisory, and promotion. As a business leader and employer of investment professionals, I have also noticed that there is a shortage of female investment professionals and that there is also a need to increase members' commitment to professional learning. As a society, we can address this gap through the following ways. Sharing professional learning resources with members. We all know that the financial market and the investment management industry is constantly changing, and CFA charter holders need to stay relevant to provide the best guidance to their clients. The CFA Institute has a database of enriching and up-to-date content. As a society, we can compile several of these well-being resources from the Institute database and develop a plan to share this with members via email and social media channels in a bit-sized digestible format. This is in addition to content already created locally or content that will be created locally. We will also create structures to enable members to engage actively with these materials in a fun way. Also, we'll create specialized bootcamp programs in the various investment and finance areas, such as investment management, private equity, investment banking, research, etc. Members who actively participate in these programs are included in the database for connection to prospective employers. If elected to serve on the board as vice president, I also intend to launch the Young Women in Investment, an initiative to create awareness about and enable women to view the investment management industry as a long-term viable career option. This initiative will provide boot camps, internship, and a thriving community of young female investment professionals, in addition to the existing mentorship program that is already being organized by the Gender Diversity Committee, of which I'm also a mentor. Today, you cannot see the CEO, you cannot be the CEO of a stockbroking firm without having the CIS qualification. You can't also be the CFO of a public company without having the ACA or ACCA qualification. I believe we can get to the level where you cannot be the CEO of a firm in the investment industry without having the CFA designation, not just as an added advantage, but as a compulsory requirement. In summary, if given the opportunity to serve as Vice President, I look forward to applying my industry experience as a practitioner, as well as my active engagement in various committees within the industry in the service of the Society's mission and members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Odiri. That was great. Thank you very much. And I just want to raise one quick point about the young female investment professionals. I just want to let you know you had a very young female future investment professional behind you. That was really nice. As in just to put that. That was wonderful. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the next speaker. We have the next candidate, Adebayo Olumuywa, so to give his own remarks. Adebayo, are you here?
Okay. Thank you very much, David.
Good
morning, fellow colleagues. Good morning. I'm very happy to be given this opportunity, which I've more or less decided to offer myself for service, in addition to services I've offered myself to the society and other institutes alike. I'm Adebayo Olumuywa. I'm a CFA charter holder and a member of the Society Nigeria. And the first thing I will acknowledge is to appreciate the current leadership, including the past leadership that has laid this solid foundation for us. And I really appreciate them. And what I've committed to do, in my own view, and based on the consultation I've made with fellow colleagues, is more or less based on the following goal. I call my goal strategic spare eyes. What does that mean? The first one speaks to how we can strategically support members in areas that will contribute to their growth, career development, market acceptance, and dominance through various strategic means, including increasing our engagement with employers in Nigeria. Second goal is to strategically position the society towards increasing our presence and relevance amongst the various regulatory agencies of the government, where we have direct and indirect oversight on governance, regulation, supervision over the capital market and investment community at large. Furthermore, my goal also deals with strategic alliance. We've seen in the most recent time certain, more or less like, I'll call it a battle for leadership within the investment community has been spearheaded by CIS, and which led to the proposed bill of season bill. And we expect that rather than more or less we have a dozen, we commonly have objectives that need to promote integrity and growth of the capital market. Therefore, we need to more or less strategically make alliance with our fellow institutes and more or less try to meet at a middle ground in order to forge ahead. And this will more or less protect the investment community and further increase confidence. Okay, and that is where I come up with the strategic alliance. The other aspect is to strategically innovate on the modus operandi of our engagement with members of the society through more continuous webinar, online investment learning and business engagement, and also ad hoc physical social gathering, even though we need to ensure full compliance with the COVID-19 guideline. Another thing I believe is that we can strategically contribute to matters of public discourse and economic issues, which means we should be in the forefront of national issues where the National Assembly, the government agencies, and some other aspects of international institutions make reckon with us in terms of contribution to the national discourse as it affects the economy and the capital market operation. And finally, the sixth goal is to strategically ensure the periodical journals are made available where not only issues that bother us on the society are discussed, but issues that bother us on what goes on within our immediate economy and the world economy at large, which has bearing on our operation and our investment community, especially with respect to capital market operation. This is a goal that I've more or less set. And to achieve this goal, I made it fit to recognize the effort of the current leadership, where currently we have about 7 committees made up of the employers relations, gender diversity, programming, advocacy, fundraising, and membership, including publicity committees. Now, these committees, I believe we will expand on them. And how we will expand on them is, first, for membership, we will expand on membership by enhancing knowledge dissemination, which more or less borders on creating effective mentorship. Even though currently we have mentorship program, but we believe that we will enhance it much more, where the mentorship will not just be limited to members of the society, but rather we can bring in people that have excelled, who are not members of society, but have more or less had a landmark impact in the investment community to also be mentors, and also be mentors to those coming behind. Also career advice, even though the society has continued to carry out career fairs, but I believe that we need to have a dedicated portal where career advice can be sought on demand, and more or less webinar organized at every point in time. Also, we need to create more awareness within the investment community by creating more updates, series of webinars, which is similar to what other societies have seen as continuously done, where they have series of planned and rescheduled webinars, which come up once a week or sometimes twice in a month. And we need to do that, and also create some on-demand learning platform where people at their own pace can equally harness knowledge and key into knowledge. Another thing we also do is to more or less ensure.
Just a time check for you. Time check. I'll just give you additional 30 seconds. Time check.
Now, lastly, I believe that we could create additional committees, and those committees are regulatory government relations. We believe that in this part of the world, your ability to lobby government towards ensuring that you promote certain advocacy is very key to our survival. And that is key. And second one is to create a committee that more or less deal with financial literacy extensively with respect to students, investment community, the general public in terms of advocacy and knowledge sharing, and also create more of media parley. And I believe with all of these, we will be able to take our society to the new level that it deserves. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Olumuywa. Thanks a lot to our 3 candidates. And now we're going to jump into the Q&A session. So I would like us to start asking questions. I will get all 3 candidates on. I'll just put you on focus mode now so we can have all of you on. And please ask your questions in the chat. I'm looking at the chat right now. I would like to see questions asked so that we can go ahead with this session, which is the Q&A. So we have 30 minutes for this session. In total, as a maximum of 30 minutes. Some of the questions, obviously, all candidates probably would answer. If you have a specific question for a specific candidate, please go ahead and ask. And I would like to call on all candidates now. So let me, if you can share your cameras. You can all share your cameras as well. So, and we'll put you on spotlight. Right. Great. So while questions are coming, let me just ask one, and I will just ask this to each candidate, and I'm going to give each candidate maybe 2 minutes maximum to answer them. We've heard a lot of what you want to do. There's quite a lot. I mean, it's a shopping list of what needs to be done. But I want you to just focus on just one thing. If this was just one thing that you wanted to do during your, so that at the end of your, or being that the vice VP that will say, okay, this is what he did or she did. What's that one thing? Can we start with Odiri?
All right, thank you so much, David Brown. Okay, so for me, my major area of focus is, like I've spoken in my speech, is on career advisory and career enhancement. Why? Because I've seen firsthand. I worked in the Employers Relation Committee for over 4 years, and we engage actively with employers, and I can see firsthand the major challenges that employers are having, even in hiring, recruiting CFA charter holders, as well as the challenges CFA charter holders are having in engaging with employers. So for me, in my first 100 days, that would be a key area of focus. And I said also that one of the major gaps that I've seen is in increasing members' commitment to professional learning. I believe that if we actively close that gap, our members are more up to date, more relevant, they become more attractive to employers. And also in increasing our advocacy with the employers and showcasing the value that we as CFA Charter holders can bring to them. I see an opportunity where CFA Charter holders are the preferred standard, particularly for investment management roles or other finance roles within the industry. So that would be my major focus in the first 100 days. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Odiri. Thanks for that. And next will be Adebayo Olumuywa, if you can give us your one thing.
Okay, thank you very much. As a member of the advocacy committee, one thing I've seen is that laying a solid foundation where your voice is heard and is sorted at every point in time, strategic decisions or issues of policies to be made is very critical. And therefore, I will more or less advocate in support with the agenda of who is elected as a president to have a committee that oversees what I call regulators and government relations, which means we need to have that because everything you want to do or what you want to achieve is premised on the laid down policy, rules and regulation of the society or the environment in which you operate. And therefore, it is very critical that we more or less create such a relationship that make us a body to be reckoned with when policies are needed to be formulated. And this also can be achieved by creating a robust financial literacy committee that oversees how we could more or less impart more knowledge to the general public, to students in university, which we currently do, but enhance it in a way where the whole society or the Nigerian public can more or less make reckon with us when it comes to such arrangement, and also to partner effectively with various bodies that have one or two roles to play within the finance industry as a whole. And that's why the strategic alliance is very key. I've more or less made researches and I've discovered that we have various finance bodies, including those that specialize in accounting, those that specialize in investment, those that are market dealers, and etc. We need to create that. And based on my involvement and my membership of various international bodies, and including Nigeria, I've seen that such more or less create relationship that make us to be reckoned with and make us to be a leader or a thought leader in the industry.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's just time up now. Thank you. Thank you very much, Adebayo, for that. And Chuka, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. For me, a key point, it's similar to what Odiri mentioned, and that is in the area of advancement. It's very important that our members are able to advance their careers. And like I mentioned initially, internship would be an area. So influencing and demonstrating to provide opportunities for our members, and this will take leveraging our members of executives, basically decision makers, will just basically go for the low-hanging fruits. Another point is the mentorship program, where we pay more members to those that are, more advanced in their career, and not just senior members in our group, but also in the wider investment. The other part is the Leadership Academy program for C-suite executives. This is a strategic push to basically improve our influence among industry and business leaders. And the whole idea would be to leverage the resources we have at the CFA Institute to be able to roll out a curriculum for the C-suite executives. And the expectation open doors for hiring of our members, provision, providing internship opportunities for them, engaging regulators and industry power brokers. So that is the number one point. We will be happy, to execute. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chuka. Thanks to all the candidates. I have a question from, and what are we going to do now is I'm going to give everyone 1 minute now, 1 minute to answer. Most questions are going to be for everyone, so it's going to be 1 minute each for you. I have a question from Zaradeen Ibrahim. Is asking, the nominees have talked extensively on how they plan to make the society more visible, creating more awareness, increasing member benefits, and more. All these goals require extra income. If I may ask that everyone mute, can we all mute? And then when we're talking, we just unmute. Can we all mute? I think there's some background noise. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, sorry. I'll repeat the question. So from Zaradeen Ibrahim, the nominees have talked extensively on how they plan to make the society more visible, creating more awareness, increasing member benefits, and more. All these goals require extra income for the society. What initiatives do the nominees have that will help generate additional income for the society? I will start with Adebayo, and then Odiri, and then Chuka, then Odiri. So Adebayo.
Thank you very much. The first thing is that currently,
1 minute.
Currently, the society sought for funds through CFA, more or less subvention, through corporate sponsorship and etc. But I believe that in addition to that, by the time we create more literacy platform where there can be resources at demand for university students, for those that more or less operate or work within the investment industry, and we can be able to generate little money from such subscription to those on-demand courses, which is going to be at a lower price. And another thing is that once you start to do more publication with respect to periodicals, which is meant for investment community, we have much more of adverts that comes periodically, and that creates some level of competitions among players within the industry who will be ready to subscribe, or because of the caliber of information and narrative we put in such a journal, which will more or less go beyond the borders or shores of this country. And that is what I could say.
Thank you for that. Time is up, and time is up. Thanks for that. And same question, Chuka.
Oh yes, yeah, that's a very brilliant question. Yes, so in terms of creating revenue, one area, a low-hanging fruit, would be the successful execution of the Academy for C-suite executives. It's not going to be free. It's going to be, subscription-based. So that is one area. Another area is in terms of leveraging the resources that we already have. So we have a society office that's, that has office space, library, and and that office can be used, for rental, for other activities. What I mean is other educational program, and and another thing is companies and sponsors that want to put their banner, we can use this space to drive, sponsorship for companies that want to put their banner in the office. And the other aspect is really organically growing our numbers, our member numbers, through member value.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chuka. And Odiri?
All right. Okay, so I'll just focus on two things. The first is corporate sponsorship. For me, I'm not just bringing my experience in the industry as a practitioner, I also bring resources. So I sit at the level where my company has always sponsored part of the program of the society. So that will also come to bear. So corporate sponsorship is key to be able to generate the resources and the funds that we need to run some of all this program. And then secondly, boot camps. I talked about boot camps. Some of all these boot camps will be at subsidized rates, such that we can generate, some revenue, but to a large extent, maybe not necessarily the participant paying for it, but I think when you provide value to companies, when you can see the value, particularly when their members are involved or are participants of those boot camps or programs, they are willing to commit some of the resources. So I think the major focus will be on value to companies to be able to commit resources and also bringing the resources at the level that I occupy currently. Thank you.
Thanks for that answer. Thank you very much. And I would like to now go over to another question. This is by Shade Odunaya. Excited that you all want to volunteer to the service as vice president. Can you tell us in clear terms if you have held executive board level positions in a non not-for-profit, in a not-for-profit. What capacity did you hold and what impact did you have? I'll start with Chuka, then Odiri, then Muiwa. Chuka.
Okay, sure. Thanks. So to be precise, the experience that I have on a non-profit is basically the CFA Society Nigeria. I joined the board that's in 2017, and the impact that I've made since I joined the board is the establishment of the investment conference and some of the initiatives that I mentioned earlier on, which is the Women in Investment Management, the career fair. And I also sit on the board of other private institutions, other finance institutions, but that's so far CFA Society Nigeria is just the non-for-profit board level experience that I have.
Thanks, Chuka.
Okay, I have, all right, so I'll focus on two areas. The first is Rising Tide Africa. Rising Tide Africa is a network that focuses on investing in early startup led by female, where they're either the founder or the companies have significant members of females on the management team. So I'm a member of that company, and I also sit on the boards of the investment committee, driving investment in a number of the startups. To date, we've raised about $250,000, which we have invested in a number of the startup and early stage companies. I'm also a founding member of Gaia Africa. Gaia Africa is a platform where a number of women come together to share ideas, that can support women in various positions. So we have women in various executive positions in the private sector, in the government sector, and also who are running their own company. I also drive the investment committee of the Gaia Africa team. So I believe that in this capacity and the impact I've been able to make in these two board level positions, I can also deploy the experience and skill as a vice president of the CFA Society Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Odiri. And Olumuywa.
Thank you very much. Currently, I am a senior finance person with Sarah Group. This is a group that has presence in about 40 countries and with presence in 4 continents. And I oversee group finance function. And one of those critical things we've done is to set up what we call Sarah Foundation. And that foundation more or less cut across Africa, where we provide support in terms of corporate social responsibility. I oversee the finance of the foundation. And one of the most recent things we've done, which has created significant impact, is our support for the COVID-19 pandemic issues that came up, where we provided equipment for the facility that was set up in Abuja, which was the biggest facility, which currently still accommodates more than 300 beds with various ventilators and other things. And equally, we have replicated this in many African countries where we operate. And also before now, we still continue to support projects by what we call Food Africa projects, which we have also extensively involved in. We are also part of private initiatives where we have more or less support.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Adebayo.
Yeah,
just finish the last point. Finish the last point. Finish your last point.
Where we have supported child education and girl child education, and equally women's support for development.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And with that last point about girl child education, I would like to go to a question by Perfect Fagbile. Perfect said it's fantastic and commendable that all candidates have spoken well in giving more support to female gender, which of course is very good and in line with global practices. However, I would like the candidates to highlight plans for one other group, those who do not have experience in finance and investment and have decided to become members with the intention of changing their career path, especially those who are not young. So I'll start the question with Adebayo, then we go to Odiri, then Chuka. Adebayo?
Okay, thank you very much. In my discussion earlier, I itemized that we need to set up what we call a financial literacy committee, in addition to the 7 committees currently in existence. And that more or less speaks to what I say, where students will be taken care of, where those that are in investment industry will be taken care of, and those that have interest, who need our students have finance background, where we try to bring them up to speed. And this is going to be replicated based on the fact that I've had experience in support to the Sahara Foundation, where I serve as a mentor to various people in businesses, where we try to more or less make them up to speed to understand the role finance play in business sustainability. And I believe that experience, bringing it on board here, will make CFA Society yield to that and give support to the immediate environment.
Thank you for that.
All right, thank you so much, Perfect, for that question. And I will say it resonates with me because in the course of my presentation, I started with saying I had this comment of, why are you writing CFA? Since at that point in time, I was a CFO of an investment bank, more of what we call the back office professional. But today, I run an investment management firm. So career transition is possible. And what I would like to say is it requires intentional mentorship, deliberate mentorship for those who are looking to transition from back office to front office, or from non-finance or investment roles to core finance and investment role. The key to that is mentorship, active engagement with those who have actually transitioned, for them to share their strategies, to share experience, to share ideas, and it has to be deliberate and intentional. And then actively looking for those opportunities where your skill set as a non-finance professional can be translated clearly in clear terms and value to the organization, in moving to a financial. So I think the key is mentorship. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Right on time. Chuka?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, very excellent question. And similar to what Odiri says, it actually resonates with me. And the reason is because my background, I started from audits, and it was when I did a CFA program and my master's in finance that I was able to transition to private equity. So the key focal points of this, internship and mentorship. With respect to internship, it's leveraging, as senior, those that are very senior in their career and are decision makers, to be able to give those that are looking to change career path a chance, at least through, a short-term internship, so that they can now go with that, little experience to get, the long-term career that they want. The second is with respect to mentorship. I got mentors late in my career, and it was eye-opening. So because I've seen the impact it has had on me, it's also something that it's also an area that I would actively push for those that want to change career.
All right, thank you very much for that, Chuka. I would like to make some few clarifications from the last question about NGOs, right? Because, for example, Rising Tide is not an NGO, so it's basically an angel investment company. So what I would like each candidate to do very briefly, these 30 seconds, just list out the NGOs you've currently, what you currently do with them, the NGO, what you do, and how long you've done it. Just very, very briefly, just a list. I would like to start with Adebayo. Just list out the NGOs, just list them out and what you do with them, very, very briefly. Thank you.
Okay, the NGO I've worked with extensively is Sahara Foundation, we call it Sahara Charitable Foundation, and I've been with them for 8 years. By June, I'll be 8 years there, where I oversee the finance function. And we've done various activities within these 8 years.
No, don't go through the activity. Just list out. Just list out the NGOs. Yeah.
Okay, the NGO I've worked with the Sahara Charitable Foundation.
Yeah.
Where I operate at the level where I oversee the finance functions and advisory to the board on where we could channel our financial resources to in support to the economy, to the community in which we operate, and also extend our charitable services.
Which other NGO? Just list them. I just want a list. Sorry, because we don't have time.
Foundation.
Just Sahara Foundation. Okay, great. So Odiri, could you go ahead? What are the NGOs and your role there? Just list.
All right. So since you've taken out Rising Tide, so I will start with Women Who Invest. Women Who Invest is a social enterprise, and what we do is we focus on advocacy, research, and education. The goal is to increase the participation of women in investing. Create a platform where we can strengthen and advocate for women's case for investing. So I started the platform The second one is Gaia Africa.
Okay.
I've been there for 2 years now, and I'm an active participant in the investment committee, driving investment in businesses and other outlets for women to generate additional income. Thank you.
Okay, and CFA Society, any CFA Society role itself?
Okay, I'm currently the vice chair of the Employers Relations Committee, where we advocate with employers for the value of the CFA Charter.
Okay, so that's great. Adebayo, if you want to add, do you have a CFA? Of course, you've done stuff with CFA Society. Any position?
Okay, I'm a member of the advocacy committee, and equally during the period we have financial literacy, I'm always involved in the activities of the society.
Yes. You see, sometimes we forget that CFA too were NGO, right? But all these big business guys are basically making money, and ladies making money everywhere. We're an NGO, but it's okay, guys. I know we can forget. So Chuka, go ahead, list them out.
Yeah, so it's CFA Society Nigeria. I've been involved. I've been a volunteer for over 7 years. Started as just a member of the programs committee, and eventually became the chair of the committee, and subsequently the general secretary of the board. And as a result of those activities, we've basically put CFA on the map.
So just list out any other ones. Just list them out. Quickly list.
Nigeria, that's it.
Okay, CFA Society Nigeria. Great. Thank you very much. Just a time check, everybody. We have 9 minutes left for this 30-minute Q&A, and I'll just jump to more questions. If we can't take all the questions, I guess we would probably send them to the candidates, but I would like to jump straight back in. So we have a question from Niraj, a question to all. How we can engage more universities and utilize active members to get more corporate engagement? How can we engage more universities and utilize active members to get more corporate engagement? So it's 1 minute each. I'll start with Odiri, then we go to Chuka, then Adebayo. Odiri?
All right, thank you for the question, Niraj. So in engaging, how we can engage more university. I think we have done significantly well in the university research. And I think for me, the Women in Investment Initiative is not just for professionals already or young professionals in the industry, but we'll start basically from final year students in the university. So that way we can increase the pool of universities that we engage with. Also, in terms of active members to get more corporate engagement, we can set up what we call champions. So CFA charter holders in organizations can act as champions. One of the things I believe I've done for United Capital is, if you're a CFA charter holder in United Capital, there's value for you. A number of the CFA charter holders in United Capital have, their career has transitioned completely. So if we have champions in each of the corporate establishments, it's easier for us to engage with those employers because they see the value of what the CFA charter holders are bringing to the table. And advocacy also with those employers is also very easy. Request for sponsorship of any of our programs is also very easy once we have those champions. And those champions are there to showcase the value in terms of ethics, in terms of work that they do, in terms of excellence. Very much.
Thank you for that. Thanks a lot. Thank you. And who's next? I give the order. I think it's Chuka next.
Yeah. I think I'm the one that's left. So basically, in order to engage the universities more, one of the low-hanging fruits is the investment club. So when I schooled in the UK in University of Exeter, we had an investment club, and this basically created awareness, on investments, and as well as it also promoted the CFA designation because the CFA Institute and Society of UK was the sponsor of that club. So rolling it out in more universities is a very key point. Another area is in terms of engaging or expanding our reach across more universities in Nigeria and universities outside Nigeria. So it's very important that we're able to broaden our horizon by interacting with other universities that are outside Nigeria. We get to understand the economies and the nuances of other environments. The third is leveraging our members, as well as the board and the board of governors and the board of trustees to get corporate sponsors for some of the objectives you're driving at the university level.
Thank you. Time up, time up. Very good. Thank you very much for those answers. I'm going to go in now. We have 6 minutes left, so we're going to go into our last question. And I'm going to give 2 minutes for each candidate to answer this question. 2 minutes each, and I'll be very strict with time. The question is this. So what solid experience do each of you have volunteering with CFA Society Nigeria? I know you've mentioned it already, but let's bring this back, right? So when we're creating endless committees is really not the solution. So how will you make the existing committees function better and advance the objectives of the society? So that's the key question. How do you make the existing committees function better and advance the objectives of the society? I'm going to start with Chuka, then we go to Ediri, then Muyiwa, sorry. So Chuka, 2 minutes max. This is the last question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so basically we've, the current board has created a very solid engine, which is through the secretariat and hiring a COO, who is one of us, to run the society. Now, one key area is the frequency of meetings and that we have with the various societies, with the various committees. So engaging them regularly, getting feedback from them, working on KPIs and seeing that those KPIs are achieved and reported on a regular basis, so monthly, quarterly. Yeah, that would ensure that there is much more engagement with the various committees. Yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you, Chuka. Thank you. Odiri?
All right, so the first thing for me, I would say, is to set clear objectives, measurable objectives. So for each committee, this is what you're supposed to do.
Fifka, mute our mics, please. Please mute your mics. Sorry. Go ahead.
In specific terms, what are the objectives and how? I'll say the first thing is to set clear objectives, measurable objectives. So for each of the committee, these are your objectives. These are the objectives in measurable terms. For each program and for each activities that are carried out by each of the committees, it will also have clear, measurable metrics, for us to be able to track and ensure that those activities are even effective. What is the value of each of those activities? So it's not just we're doing activities, or programs that are not delivering real value, particularly to members. And then lastly, each member of the BOG should be directly responsible for a committee. So there are various committees, but each of the committee will have a BOG that they report to actively, and that BOG member will be responsible and will provide feedback and update to the board on what they are doing and what those committees are doing, and the values that those committees are bringing to the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Odiri. And Olumuywa?
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing I'm going to align with is that we have a strategic objective as a society. And what I expect is that to make the committee more effective is to define our objective in a smart way, which corroborated what Odiri said in terms of what is measurable. Secondly, because of the nature of our involvement in various organizations, various events, and various institutions, we need to have a plan in place, similar to what other societies have. And what is that? Is that we need to schedule our activities for the year, which means we need to have a calendar where every date are preset. And this will make effective planning available for every member so that conflict and other schedules will be avoided, as the case may be. Another thing we need to do is to take our attendance seriously as a prerequisite for your continuation in any committee membership as time goes on, which means committee membership needed to be revalidated at every point in time. Another thing also is that our strategic objective will ensure that when we sit in committee, the committee should have more or less like a measurable basis of saying what kind of white paper or what kind of position paper are you presenting as a committee, probably once in a quarter, which serve as what we go out to form our own advocacy at the end of the day, whether in terms of ethics, in terms of promotion of investments, the women investment in Nigeria and some other things like that. And lastly, I believe that what also Audrey said is that there should be high level of involvement of members of the BOG in those committees, even though I may not subscribe to the fact that the BOG members should never hold a position in that committee, so that we can be able to allow more or less others to also develop and contribute in that manner. But we should find a way of having every member of the BOG to be a member of at least one of those committees who is going to be responsible for reporting activities of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to obviously give a virtual clap to all the candidates. Thank you very much for such a wonderful discourse. I'd like to say thank you to Chuka, Odiri, and Olumuywa. And please, everybody, vote. The elections are, I think, on the 12th of March. Make sure that you vote. I mean, your votes obviously would count, right? So please go ahead and vote. Thanks to everybody. We'd like to move straight into the next